Okay. I haven't really posted a lot of my speed paints recently, and I'm gonna try and change that. So today I had recently, not the just like a few minutes ago, right before I recorded the speed paint, I had gotten the trial version. Not the trial, more like the iPad version of Clip Studio Paint. You have to pay for it though. So I'm just using like the sort of like doodle mode version that they got, which I think is great because you never know if it's like this is the program for you and all this other stuff too. So I want to try it out, and also because like some of my friends also use Clip Studio Paint. So more so, I just want to try it out and see, is this a program I might use in the future? Or something like that, something akin to that. And so I thought it'd be a very, very awesome idea to draw one of my OCs, Yams. Wahoo! I did not intend for this to, be like a serious drawing. I just wanted to try out the features on there, all that other stuff too. So as for why I do this, so the song playing right now is Killin Dirty by Chergy. They do a lot of really good, their music is really good, even though I've heard maybe 2 or 3 songs by them, but I really do like their music, so check them out if you can. I drew this based off the song, and it's like a whole lore thing I had came up with. It's dumb if I explain it out loud, but if you read over text, it sounds way cooler. But basically, Yams used to be this heavily headcanoned version of the funny ghost trick guy. I'm not going to explain. And basically, Yams was like, hey, I don't think this vessel, quote unquote, or this face fits how I perceive myself, because they were hanging out with BD all that, because he was hanging out with BD that whole time. And so BD the character, not actually me, though that would be awesome and epic. But regardless, basically how it goes is that as the longer they've hanged out, the more Yams felt like he is now his own person and not some weirder and more skewed version of the funny ghost trick guy. And so they were like, hey, I'm going to change my face now. And BD was like, oh, okay, cool, I think. And I kind of use the song lyrics, because this is a staple that's been in his lore, but the song kind of amplifies it. For example, in the song, Lord X is talking about how he's going to pass on and be in a better body or something like that, as it a final farewell kind of thing. And so I kind of wanted to implement that into the lore too, where BD thinks it's oh my god, he's gonna die. This is my BBG is going to be gone forever. OMG. But Yams is I'm not going to die. I'm just going to be in a new body. And and if you want, you could see this as a transgender allegory, because if you've seen Yams, you know darn well there's nothing cisgender about it. Cishet, I think that's the term that some people use online. Well, there's nothing normal. No, not normally sound like being gay is weird. I mean, queer does mean weird, but whatever. What I'm saying is that he's in a better, this is how he perceives himself as a person, not just a ghost trick character, but his own individual being. And BD kind of helped him realize that. I think BD will probably be on a similar journey, but more so just I can do my own things now. I don't have to be limited to one job. The BD's whole lore is freaking insane, kind of. I'll explain it later. Is this canon to striped yellow? Maybe, give or take. I feel like this would be canon afterthought, which is kind of like a sequel, kind of, sort of, but not really. It's a very complicated story that has something to do with like the ending of the original striped yellow. So, I'll explain that when the time comes. But regardless, that's Yams' whole side of things. Now, as for the actual program, I'm really liking Clip Studio Paint. Is it something I'll use like often, like forever now? Probably not. You can tell I'm using simple mode because I think the format for like the regular Clip Studio Paint is just so there's a lot going on. It kind of reminds me of Krita with how like not cluttered, but more so just like there's a lot of tabs and all that junk going on. It's like, oh my goodness. It's very, very tough for beginners to like get into, or just people who want to check out the program. So I'm really happy they have like a simple mode for people who, are used to, because it's this format kind of reminds me of like Procreate, but also like that one drawing app that's on Samsung tablets, because my sister has one, and there's a drawing app on there. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit in terms of like how simple everything is and how the brushes on the side are kind of arranged. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I like it. It's very easy to get a hold of. However, what I don't like is how you have to... if I remember correctly, I don't recall you having to sign in to download other brushes and whatnot, though I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've used it because I've used it before in the past. So I'm not 100% sure if, they changed it or something like that. But I'm pretty sure the brush, but that's not to say that the brushes that I have, that the default brushes that they give you are bad. Absolutely not. I think the brushes that they have in Clip Studio Paint are actually quite nice. I'm a big fan of like the gouache brush. You can see I'm using it in the speed paint. Actually, you can see that I'm using it. It's actually really, really good. It's got like a nice texture to it. I wish it was a little more blendable, but I feel like it's better for like more color blocking and like actually like rendering. But also, not to mention, I don't really render my pictures all that much. I don't do painting, quote unquote. So rendering for me is like whatever this is. I know some people's definition of rendering is different, but I don't really render like this as often as I used to. This is like how I do it. Like this is like the best version I got of it, because like I said, I don't really render like that. And so that's just it is how it is. But also I think it would be also really cool if, I don't know if you can import pictures into Clip Studio Paint like you can with like Ibis Paint or Procreate. I think it'd be like really cool if they did, because just I don't know, just the concept of it, of having like a little reference photo in the corner like that they do in Ibis is really pretty cool, and also like really functional too, because it makes you, for me, it makes me feel less like a noob, quote unquote, to see like, oh my gosh, they're picking the colors out of nowhere, and it's just, I'm just using the reference photos. But that's me personally. That's just my perception of how I draw and whatnot. As for the brushes and how painting this went, I mean, the brushes are good. I don't really have a favorite brush. I really liked the, like I said, I really liked the gouache brushes. I specifically used the tiny gouache brush, because it doesn't have like the texture to it as like the regular gouache brushes do, which was fine. Not to say I don't like the regular gouache brush. It was fine. The thing is that I don't think I really liked the texture that it gave my rendering, and it made it look kind of funny. So I just went for like a tiny gouache brush, However, I did actually use the bigger one for the quote unquote mask that Yams has, just to sort of give it that like sort of kind of, I don't know. I was trying to give it like a sort of texture that made it feel like it was like, oh, it's a mask. It's fake, guys. That's what the point of the mask is. I probably shouldn't say that, but also, but also just something cool I wanted to do because I like drawing cool things. What else? That's pretty. Honestly, I think rendering this was actually not too bad. It was fun, but the thing is that I've mentioned before that I'm not really the best at rendering. I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. And so, hold on, I think I turned up my light. Yeah, okay. So I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. So I kind of just make things up as I go. But also, I kind of noticed I have like this bad habit. Not really a bad habit, something I need to work on really, where I focus on one part of like the rendering process, and then the other parts of the rendering process look like complete dog booty. And I need to learn how to not make it be like that. I know some people like render multiple things at a time. I think that's how some people do it. But for me, it's like I have no clue how to do that one thing at a time. Like multiple things at once, because I feel like it'd just be a big hassle just to do multiple things at once. So, oh my god, this freaking phone keeps ringing. I'm gonna lose it. Whatever. What I'm saying is that, yes, I'm not really the best at rendering, but still, I tried. I did my best. That's how we all get better. Anyways, you just try your best or whatever. But also, I just remembered about like the gouache brush I was using, the big one. For some reason, it kept giving my yellows like a really greenish tint. I didn't know why. I didn't like it all that much. I mean, it was something I could deal with. It wasn't like something that put me off about like drawing. And you can see here, I'm trying different like brushes and whatnot to blend it in. Because like I was saying, I was trying to, mess with the textures. I like the mask a little bit, so yeah, that was what I was doing. But like I was saying, for some reason the gouache brush would give my yellows like a greenish tint, and I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it right there, and it was like bugging me a little bit. I don't know why it did that, honestly. Maybe it's like because I had like a warm line art, and it was mixing to make green. But even then, it was like so weird for me. So that's why I switched to the tiny gouache brush, because I didn't really like how it was giving like stuff like green streaks or whatever. And me, I don't like green. No, but more so, it just looked weird. So I kind of was like, yeah, no, thank you, I'm good. And honestly, if I were to go back and fix anything, I don't think I'd fix anything. More so just, I feel like there was like some points where my rendering just looked really funny and really bad. And I tried to cover it up at the end, but it was just like, oh, well, you know what, I can't. Like with the hair, it's like you could tell that, you can tell like the end pieces of like Yams' hair just doesn't look like all that great. But then again, I kind of thought about it in a way where it's like, I know some people will like quote unquote sloppily render anything that's like out of distance. That's not like the main focus. And so I was like, yeah, let's just say it's like that. Yeah. And so, we make it up as we go. We cover up our mistakes. We're just trying to cover it up with lore. Or something like that, just regular people things that we do. Also, there's a point where I tried to give him an eye, but my art style doesn't really have a particular set of eyes that look good, quote unquote. More so, just like I don't know what style to do for my eyes, so I was just like, yeah, no eyes, yep. But honestly, I think that's the joy of creation, like the FNAF game. You draw however you want, as long as it don't hurt nobody. What else? And you can see like more of those green lines, like that, the green again. But I just decided to leave it be. Because I think like the little hints of green do kind of add to the mask a little bit, how artificial it may be. But I feel like it adds to how artificial it may be. But also just, I don't know, it does look kind of nice in certain places. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it. And I think here I don't think I used like the little wash brush here. And here I was just putting like the colors down. Sometimes this rendering is just putting the colors down, just hoping that they work together. And honestly, that's like what I do. That's what I do. But I did realize, pardon me, goodness me, I did realize that it looked funny, so it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna put a little more effort into it. Decided to use that big gouache brush. Honestly, I at this point I started liking the gouache brush a little bit because, you know, it added like a really nice texture to it, and you know, and given the symbolism, I thought it kind of fit. Like the more secure bits of Yams' identities with like the smaller gouache brush, for like the more like looser bits of him, you know, the parts of him that are still the funny ghost trick guy, you know, are done with gouache. You know, it's symbolism almost. It's kind of symbolism at core. Also, speaking of which, one of the brushes was really, really weird with me. It was like the watercolor brush. I tried to use it to blend like the right side of the ends of hair, but the thing is that it didn't. For some reason, it didn't look right. So, because it looked like it kept erasing it. And so I was just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to use that anytime soon. So I just went back to, like, you know, just using the brushes I've been using this entire time. Also debated on giving Yams like that line on his mouth, as you can see. But it didn't really look right. I think I got it at the end. But it was like a little smaller this time. So I didn't have to, you know, go back and fix it. I have a tendency of like going back and fixing a lot of things. So, yeah, you literally just saw me say like, oh, thank goodness I'm done. And then I was just like, nope, I still got some more to do. So, yeah. What else? Oh yeah, my earbuds died. I was listening to my earbuds while drawing this. I should say I have a tendency of watching the worst things while I do my speed paints. Don't say anything about them. I'm telling you now, if you guys say anything about what I watch during my speed paints, I will get you. I will freaking get you or something like that. I don't know. But also, regardless, this is me. I thought about adding like little like fuzzies around the, because they have like, what is it, like special effects brushes or something like that? I don't know. Bubbles, soft circle, all that jazz too. And so I was just like, oh man, it's never mind. It didn't really fit what I was doing. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing. I will say though, you can see it right here. Eek. Clip Studio Paint. It's weird. It's not like Procreate where like if you have like a bigger brush, just doesn't lag. But some brushes make the iPad lag really bad. Not the iPad, more like the program. Like even this watercolor brush I'm using right here for the shading, for the black, it makes the app lag like really noticeably. It's really weird too. Like you can't have certain brushes in like a bigger setting or it'll just lag it so like immensely. So it's like really, really odd. But whatever. I guess from there I just don't like make your brushes too big or whatever when you're using this program. Also, me changing the color of the background. I really do like how you can change it with like the color tool or whatever, right? the little program that has, the little mini program it has. But the issue is that I wish it was like that same way for Procreate, because Procreate's like real difficult, because you don't know if you're like changing the color of the brush or if you're changing the color of the actual changing the color of like the actual brush color. But it's fine. Overall, I think Clip Studio Paint is a good program for like beginners. I think definitely try like the simple version. Doesn't matter if you're using EX or Pro. Just try the simple version and just be careful with like how big your brush sizes are, because the bigger they are, the more laggier your program will get. And yeah, that should be it. I hope you enjoyed the speed paint and whatnot. And I hope you have a nice day. Bye.